American. Yes, he was of Japanese descent, but he was actually born and raised in Hawaii. Uh, he had a really good wrestling career. Of course, he would.
At least he was born on an island.
Hey, there's a lot of Japanese people in Hawaii, from what I understand. Yes. But I mean, of course, being Japanese, that made them the perfect heel. Because I mean, Americans, especially Americans, love to have the foreign villains. So that made his career. And I mean, when he went to WWE, or as it was called at the time, the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, he found a lot of success. He was a 5-time World Tag Team Champion there, 3 times with Professor Tanaka, 2 more times with Mr. Saito. He went on to become an iconic manager. He went off and he led Demolition to their first Tag Team Championship. He was really well known for a lot of the stuff he did with Don the Rock, Morocco. And at the height of his managerial career, he led Yokozuna to 2 reigns as WWE World Champion. So, I mean, in this day and age in professional wrestling, we don't see a lot of managers anymore. About as close as you're going to get now is with Paul Heyman coming out and talking about Brock Lesnar. And in a lot of ways, Paul Heyman...
That name is not allowed to be mentioned.
I'll just simply say Paul Heyman may be the best thing about Brock Lesnar, but that's my personal opinion.
Even he ain't good enough to make that look better.
I am not going to go off and argue with you on that. But considering how good Paul Heyman is on the mic, he can make almost anyone look good. And if you don't believe me, got 2 words for you: Curtis Axel. But I go off and I digress. So I mean, we definitely lost a great manager, and thankfully WWE did induct him into the Hall of Fame a couple of years ago. So he got to go out and kind of have his moment. So that was I mean, he's gonna be missed. I mean, he managed some really interesting characters over the time, including people like the Berserker, Kai and Tai, including one guy who was pretending to be Japanese but wore a mask. There was Kamala the Uganda Giant, and I'm trying to remember some of the other ones. The WWE seemed to really have some fun just throwing them in with some real weirdos over the years. But I think maybe they made it up to him by giving them Yokozuna so he could finally manage the world champion.
Rightfully so.
So I mean, Mr. Fuji is going to be really missed. Unfortunately, I didn't see Raw last night, but apparently they paid some tribute to him. So I mean. So, rest in peace.
I'd be ashamed if they didn't.
Yeah. But now, there's one other person, and I mean, probably, and it's almost unfair to go off into...
Put these two in
the same boat. Not because, no disrespect to Mr. Fuji, but someone whose death is going to be felt a little bit wider.
Mr. Fuji was a wrestling icon. Gene Wilder was a childhood icon.
Yeah, whether it was Blazing Saddles or Young Frankenstein, or...
Which was an all-time favorite of mine.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably one of my... Those 2 movies are probably my 2 favorite movies that Mel Brooks ever did. Yeah, maybe, throw Spaceballs in there as well. But then, I mean, probably the movie that he's best known for, that was Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Yes. And I'm really ashamed that they actually remade such an iconic movie that was played beautifully, not just by Gene Wilder, but everybody involved.
It was really good, and no disrespect to the new one. Part of the reason why they went off and did make the remake was that Roald Dahl, who, of course, wrote Charlie in the Chocolate Factory, hated the movie, hated Gene Wilder as Willy Wonka, and would not give the rights to go off into do a movie based off the Charlie and the Glass Elevator, which is probably just as well, because having read the outline for the book, it doesn't sound like it would have made a really good movie anyways.
No.
But I mean, it was stuff like that. I remember later on in life, Gene Wilder went off and he did several movies with Richard Pryor. I remember a series he did for, I believe it was A&E, a detective series. and I'm a sucker for like a good solve the murder series.
He also did an autobiography series about himself. He was in a bunch of other TV series along the way. This is the guy who really kept to himself, but he will forever be known as Willy Wonka. And I go back and I watch both movies, not as often as I'd hope, but the first one I have to watch the original, because without that one you wouldn't have a guideline, you wouldn't have such an iconic words brought to life. And that's what you look most for in a movie based on a book. You want a movie that brings the words to life, that it's not just a movie, it's now words dancing in your head. You can picture what page is what as you go, and
while it's true that the version that starred Johnny Depp was stayed much closer to the source material than the one that Gene Wilder was in. Part of there's no doubt in my mind that Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory was the superior movie of the two. And again, I mean, back when they did that movie, they didn't have the technology that was possible, so they weren't able to do everything that was written in the book. But I mean, it still to me was a better movie. The story, all in all, was much better done.
It made you feel things that a movie you would never expect. You felt pride, you felt happiness, sadness, so much emotion from a single movie. And if a movie, and specifically an actor, can really induce so much emotion just by watching it, that in itself proves how great this Gene Wilder was.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I don't know. There isn't much more for me to say.
Words do not do him justice.
Words don't do him justice. Absolutely. So it kind of saddens me to hear this. It saddens me to find out that he went off in his last couple of years. I mean, he was fighting Alzheimer's. So I mean, for such an iconic actor and someone so witty to go out, the way he did is kind of sad and frustrating. And I mean, all I can really say now is 2016. I'm really starting to hate you quite a bit.
Yes, it has been a tough year, and unfortunately, the year ain't over yet.
It's not over yet. We still got another 4 months ahead of us, kiddos.
Yeah, so buckle in.
Buckle in.
It's going to be a tough finish.
Oh, God. So, you know what? It's time for us to wrap it up.
Shameless plugs.
Shameless plug time.
So, you can follow myself at, on Twitter here, at RealCaptFizz, so at RealCaptainFizz.
And I'm definitely feeling a little, the energy's been sucked out of me just going off and talking.
This is why we do this at the end and not the beginning.
Yeah, so I mean, you can follow me at that Mask Guy. Follow the show at FizzMaskShow. There, yeah, go check out our website, www.fizzmaskshow.com. Just because of some of the stuff that's going on in our personal lives, we haven't really updated anything on the website, but you can go back and listen to the first 50 somewhat episodes of the podcast on there.
Which actually, if you click one of them, it'll link you back to the website that actually has all of them. So in a way, it's still technically there.
It is still technically there, which is awesome in itself. You also can find a link to our Facebook page on there, and we try to go off and we go on there every once in a while and just put some great stuff. We post something interesting, Star Wars-ish on there this morning, with dancing Darth Vader and stormtroopers kind of dancing to the Imperial March, which I thought was quite cute, and I needed to go off and share it.
I'm also going to be looking for a fan-made Star Wars trailer. I was watching it today. This trailer is made so well, I actually legitimately thought it was the real trailer until I saw Darth Maul pop in. And I realized it was fan-made, so I'm going to try to find it, post it up on there. It was absolutely beautifully done.
So, yeah, I mean, so we're having some fun. Guys, you could, if you ever want to, just go off, you can post stuff on our page. As long as you don't go off and, post some, silly message about if we don't go off and share it or whatever, that we're going to die in 7 days.
Make it 5 days, otherwise we won't listen.
Yeah, I've literally, though, I went off and I blocked someone for going off and posting stuff like that. So I don't tolerate BS like that.
Also, tune into our shows. We got a chat button. You can talk to us. Our buddy Weem, who has been oddly absent this time.
Well, we didn't wake him up. We didn't wake him up, so
he comments pretty much every show on a regular basis. We keep it going.
So if you do want to go off and comment, you go off, download the Spreaker app, or go off and find Spreaker on online, and you can go off and you can talk with us through that app.
Yeah, we actually talk on air. We'll message you back. Sometimes we'll do little shout outs depending on who you are, and
if you guys make us laugh, we're going to go off and we're going to mention you by name.
Absolutely. So. If I chuckle, we hear it.
Yeah.
So that's it.
That's it, man. So you know what? It's time for us to go. So in the meantime and in between time, I'm trying to suck up some energy here. So good night. God bless. May the force be with you.
And as always, stay frosty, my people. Good night.
Good night.